The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Paranormal Concept right here on Parasearch UK Radio with your host, Paul Rook.
Yep. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Concept Show. I'm your host, Paul Rook, and tonight we are joined by the ever-lovely Kerry Greenaway. Hello, Kerry.
Hello, how are you?
I'm so much better after my little break. I do need another holiday, though, I must admit. Honest
to God, I don't know if you're here, not here. I have no idea what you're doing at the moment.
Well, I do have an Italy trip coming up very soon.
You do?
So I'm going to be on that, and I'm going to try and look for some locations over there. That'd be a blinding.
Gosh, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, busman's holiday and all that.
I don't know about that. I'll be making you do shows live from Italy.
Yeah, well, we can give it a go and see how it works. Oh dear, so what have you been up to this week? Anything exciting?
Well, I've got a new job.
Awesome.
A new day job. It's a promotion in the job that I'm doing, and so I've been doing more hours, which is why I've not been around so much.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing, concentrating on learning my new job is really where I'm going with that one. Right. And I'm reading a book. I'm reading a book about psychic questing at the moment, which I'm finding fascinating.
Okay, and what's that involving?
Well, it's about something that goes back actually to the late 1970s, early 80s. Mr. Andrew Collins wrote it. And it is, it's so fascinating. And he's written about 20 other books since this book that I've read. So this is one of his earlier books. But they used to him and a guy called Graham used to write a magazine called Phenomena magazine and work with lots of other psychics and stuff like that. And it led them on an absolutely phenomenal journey to find certain artifacts, psychic questing, finding artifacts in the environment, in Britain. And it's absolutely fascinating, and it's leading me down lots of little rabbit holes of personal interest off the back of it. So I'm on the second book now. This is the Seventh Sword, and it's, oh my God, packed full of relevant information. And actually, if you are getting that kind of information psychically, the research that goes behind that to back it up, going into the libraries and archives and stuff like this, bearing in mind, back then they didn't have things like mobile phones, so they didn't have like internet, they didn't have, it was a good old go to the archives and the library and stuff like that, but they did the legwork on this, and it's absolutely fascinating, really, really fascinating. Anyway.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you have a look at the research I sent you today?
Yes, I did. I looked at it. Very fascinating. Very fascinating.
Okay, so what have you learned?
Well, actually, it was lovely that you sent me some research. Thank you so much for doing that. However, I've got a surprise.
Okay.
I've got a surprise for you.
Yay, well done.
I've
got something back.
I've got a little surprise for you, darling. Let me just pull them onto the show.
Okay.
Sounds ominous. Oh, I know. I bet you're very excited.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a blast from the past?
Awesome.
Let's just hope that they answer.
Is it? You haven't got a big red book, have you? Like, this is your life.
This is your life. No, I haven't. Mr. Stephen Collier's in the house.
Hello.
Oh, wow. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? How the devil are you, man? Awesome.
In this tonight, was you?
No, absolutely not. Not indeed. Wow.
Well,
past,
everybody,
right?
just to give everybody a little bit of background information, Mr. Steve Collier and Mr. Paul Rook, back in the day, used to actually do radio shows together for quite a long time, about 2 years, I think it was, wasn't it?
Oh, it seemed longer.
And
Good old days.
Oh, mate. So anyway, I've brought them back together again, everybody. This is like a little love fest going on here.
Oh.
Bromance.
Awesome. So what have you been up to?
Well, the same things as I suppose other people be doing, working. And I've kind of rekindled myself into the paranormal side of things.
Awesome, because last time I spoke to you, you was doing the Unknown Paraviewer.
Yes, I was, yes.
Are you still carrying on with that, or you moved on to the past is new?
I've decided to close everything on that side of it down. I've decided to set up my own whole brand new team, whole new website, absolutely everything. It was only last night that I had a meeting with a few people for new team members. So we've got a couple of, how can I put it? Experienced people who are in the field of being a medium. They've been doing it for between them probably about 80 years worth of experience in the medium field.
Fantastic.
So I'm looking forward to working with them.
So I'll see you around on the old paranormal front now.
You will indeed.
Awesome. So what do you intend to do? Are you going to do like events, or are you going to do private investigations and stuff like that?
I'm gonna try and do this team completely properly and 100% by the books. And what I mean by that is I've started with the bases, and I'm going to be bringing it right up. So the whole paranormal group that I've got is going to be ran on. It's going to have code of conduct. It's going to have policies and procedures. People are going to be DBS'd. All that side of thing. There's going to be risk assessments. There's going to be absolutely everything involved.
All the stuff we discussed on our previous shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to be doing events because that opens up a whole new kettle of fish.
Right.
So I'm going to stay with the private locations, and if we get invited in, we're going to approach some locations, but they're going to be non-public.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so it's something different. I'm going to try and do it all by the books. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah, but then that's the sort of stuff you enjoy, isn't it? I mean, you enjoy it. It almost like makes the whole job worthwhile.
Yeah, and the lovely two mediums that we chatted to yesterday, they turned around and said, well, in the 40 years of experience each they've got, so the 80 years experience, they said they've experienced some weird and wonderful things, and they've been taking part in some weird and wonderful things. And they said they're going to show us some weird and wonderful things, and they're going to turn us into 100% believers.
Okay, that's some going for you.
Yeah.
Because you are quite sceptical, aren't you, Steve, really?
I am, but I'm really quite sceptical, but I do want to believe. But the only way I think I'm going to believe 100% is for, like I've always said, I want that spirit or spirit ghost, whatever people call it, to turn up right in front of my face and go boo, and I want them to physically make me crap myself.
I agree. That's exactly what I wanted, to be fair.
Yeah, so it's physically real. I don't want it to, I want to be that scared that it makes me run away, it makes me crap myself, and I've seen it right in front of my face.
You want a nun kind of moment.
Yeah, I don't want to be sitting there and suddenly go, oh, there's a penny just thrown across the room, now I believe in ghosts. I want it to be right in front of my face.
Yeah, sort of like the Ghostbusters scene in the library.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. How awesome would that be?
It would. It'd be fantastic. I'd be well up for that one.
Wonder how much you could charge for that location. Joking. So
They'd
guys,
probably turn around and say, you can't go.
Guys, I want to take you right back, actually, is what I want to do. I want to know how you two first met.
Oh, God.
I can't remember.
Are we talking physically met or met through the radio? Because that's how we got to know each other.
Through the radio, wasn't it? But Steve was doing radio first, weren't you? You was doing it on an American network for a long time.
I was, yes. And then I had a massive break from that, and I decided to come into the scene of the investigating, because I thought, I'm hearing all these people doing it. I wonder what it's going to be like. Mm-hmm. So I thought, right, here we go. I'll give it a go. Joined a team, and it wasn't fantastic. So I thought, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make my own one. Made my own first team, which was the Paranormal Research Society of Lowestoft. And then, well, kind of got back into the radio side of things. But I could say I've probably never really actually seen everything I've heard and seen and all that side of things. I can kind of explain it to a certain extent, and I haven't really experienced anything paranormal that I can't explain. So
I've had a few experiences that I can't explain, but I'm still looking for the explanation.
So when you came together on the radio, you had, both of you had, you had quite a lot of experience, Steve, and Paul, you'd already had a bit of experience doing interviews and stuff on the radio. When you first came together as like co-hosts on the radio, did you gel straight away, or did it take a little while? How did that sort of come about together?
I think the PS4 helped a lot as well, didn't it?
I think the fact that we was on GTA a lot. I actually think that was the first time we spoke actually on GTA.
They bonded over cars every day.
GTA. We did, absolutely. Grand Theft Auto 5. And then we got together and we was like, we could do a show. And then we started discussing the possibilities, what we should call it, and we just went from there, really. And we gelled quite well, didn't we, really?
Yeah, it went from something really, really small to something quite good.
Yeah. So why it stopped, I got no idea.
Oh, wow, that's a whole different story, I'm sure. However, you covered lots and lots of different topics, didn't you? What was one of your favourites? Oh, now there's a question.
I've got to try and remember back to them now.
Because you was more of a topic show, weren't you? You was more of a topic show than guests.
I loved the time travel ones we did, because they could be quite confusing.
See, I think with regards to... It wasn't really a topic. It was more of a bit of fun, because I actually managed to get myself physically into it, and that was the What's in the Box.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
That was good. I enjoyed that. What's in the box? Yeah, I remember that one.
I'd forgotten about that, to be fair.
And that went quite far and wide, that did.
It did. It was quite entertaining to just get everybody's views on what was in the box.
On the radio. So you had a box in front of you, and it was like, okay, everybody who's listening, what's in the box? You know. Sorry.
I think a bell. I think there's a bell on one of them.
I'm not sure.
Wasn't it a bell with Titanic written on it or something?
Yeah, the bell, with Titanic, yeah.
That's it, yeah. That was what is in the box, everybody.
So it wasn't a different object every week. It was the same object, and hoping that somebody would come up with it.
Yeah, I can't remember how long it ran for. I think it was was it a couple of months?
Yeah, it was a period of time, wasn't it? And no, I don't think anyone actually guessed what it was.
No, we had people who were not in the paranormal. You had people who were investigators. You had mediums. You had clairvoyants. You had all these sort of people coming in and throwing all these questions and answers, and no one was correct.
I think if I remember rightly, I think I had to go at that one night. I think I was in the chat room one night going, "Oh, could it be this?" I was wrong, obviously. Oh dear! Oh my goodness! Well, then you stepped back, didn't you, Steve? You stepped back from it all for a while because of work and life commitments, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did.
And we got married.
I did get married, and then I kind of was forced into how can I put it? Early redundancy, and then I got myself another job, and that I kind of realised that a normal person should be working nearly 300 hours a month. So when that dropped right back down to 40 hours a week, I found that I had loads of spare time. So I kind of, well, here I am now, back again.
Oh, back again. We've actually had somebody in the chat room give us a lovely little comment. Mr. Gary Bradfield, who I believe you know.
Yes, Gary.
Yeah, he's in the chat room. He says, so Steve, if nothing in the paranormal scares you, why did you run screaming from a hall in a hotel, leaving 2 women behind?
Well, that is...
Busted.
Yeah, hashtag uh-oh.
I'll tell you what that was called. That was called me being an inexperienced investigator that was scared of his own shadow. That probably I can guarantee my wife would say, and Gary would say, and Sharon would say, and everybody else who knows me, I'm still scared of my shadow. But I think the most funniest thing for myself is being a paranormal investigator. There is a certain criteria that is, how can I put it, necessary for doing this sort of thing, and that is not being scared of the dark.
Do you know what? I think a lot. I do know paranormal investigators that are scared of the dark.
I am. I'm terrified of it. I absolutely can't stand the dark, and that's the most craziest thing about it. It's like I do everything backwards. I used to be in the Sea Cadets, and the Sea Cadets is all about going on water. I can't swim, and I'm terrified of water.
What the hell? Mad people. Mad is all I'm saying.
Only you.
The story behind what Gary was saying.
Yeah.
It's a really funny one.
Now he's had a chance to make something up.
Yeah, he's had a chance to think about this, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If Gary is still in the chat room, he can confirm it.
Okay, I'm sure he will or won't, depending on what you say.
Yeah.
Well, we went out to this a hotel, and you had myself and two Sharon and another lady. You can't remember who the other lady's name was, but we were assigned to go down this really, really long hallway. Now, Gary and his little group or gathering of people were down. I can't remember if it was on the bottom floor or whether they were on the top floor. No, they were on the bottom floor because they were on the bottom floor, and they basically said if there is spirits, ghosts, whatever around, can you please affect these guys upstairs? Now, what I completely forgot, they had CCTV. So what happened on the top floor? A light came on, and what happened next was the bit that scared the life out of me, was because Gary and loads of other people come steaming up the stairs at 100 miles an hour. They dropped their torches. Okay, we're in pitch black, and those big bangs and people running up the stairs scared the life out of me, that I had to go past these two women I mean, not actually gently either. I barged into them, picked up my camera, and left them in the hallway.
Barged these poor ladies out the way and ran for it.
I did.
I love the way you took your tech with you, though. Your camera. Don't worry about the lives of the ladies. My camera's important. I'm taking my camera.
I can imagine it now, to be fair.
I can too, to be fair. Oh, my God. Right, well, we'll wait for Gary just to confirm that is the true story behind that. Oh dear. Now, Kaz has said, right, okay, bearing in mind you've said you're quite sceptical and that you the majority of everything you've experienced you could explain away to some degree. Kaz has said, what's the most profound experience that you've had that you can't explain away?
I think the one that I can't really explain away is I'm not going to give away the location because it's still part of somebody else's, what do you call it, confidentiality side of things. I don't want to break that too much.
No.
Myself and Paul and somebody else, we went up to this particular building. Mm-hmm. And we spent a whole night up at this building. I think it was one night or 2 nights, I can't remember. But when we came back and we looked over this evidence, I found that on the CCTV, now this brought up some mixed views, and I saw what looked like a full-figured person walking towards a room and then darting back off again. Now, I don't know if you remember this, Paul.
I do, and I have still got the footage on the laptop.
And it was so much controversy brought up around it as to whether it was right or whether it was wrong or whether it could be explained or whether it couldn't be explained. But it was one of those things where it was going to be next to impossible to recreate because it happened where we didn't expect it to happen. Because I think what it was actually, we were going to be trying to broadcast to, I think it was yourself and another presenter.
Yeah, that's right.
While we were up there, and we got cut off. The electricity on the phone, or the power on the phone, just got cut off.
Yeah.
And the whole phone, or wherever it was, went completely dead. And it was that moment where we turned round, and the torches went into the other end of the room, that I saw this thing happen on the camera. But it wasn't until we got home and I saw it, but it still throws up some controversy at the moment. Yeah,
both me and you agree that it's something unexplainable. Where the third investigator decided that he was right, no one else was.
No, that it was explainable. You decided it was unexplainable, whereas this other person decided it was explainable.
Yeah.
And that's where the controversy is, isn't it?
Yeah, but then I think this is where the paranormal is great, because if you can recreate the time, the day, and it would be brilliant to be able to go back there.
Yeah.
Same lot of people that went up there on the same day for the same time to see if we get something again. But to be able to do that, it's going to be next impossible because...
Well, I mean, yeah, it's going to be impossible because we can't even create the weather conditions and everything else.
So that particular thing is going to be and will remain forever unexplainable because I can't say it is and I can't say it isn't.
Mm. It is a very interesting piece of footage, but like you say, due to confidentiality agreements in place, we can't share it. You know, we can't put it out to people. So it's one of those which unfortunately has got to stay in the archives and forever sit there and be a point of discussion amongst people that were there and involved.
Maybe one day it could be released, but until then, we can only talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, Gary has come back on your previous story. He said it was close enough, what you said. He said we had CCTV on the top floor of the hotel. No one was up there. The camera was pushed over and we lost the picture. That's why they went flying up the stairs. And that's why they scared the life out of you while you pushed those poor women to one side and grabbed your camera.
I just imagine it go, move, get out.
The thing is, okay, I think my voice reached decibels. I needed the
Decibels, I love it.
I think I suddenly reverted back to like a 10-year-old boy, and yeah.
Have you ever heard Ned Flanders scream? I think that's where he went with it.
I think which was the funniest thing was those rooms that were actually either side of us in this hotel were actually occupied.
Oh my God, I scared the life out of them. Although we're going, he's in there with 2 women. Oh my God, he's now screaming and running. Oh my life.
Yeah, you're one of these people that rented the room out for the night, and then suddenly there's a young lad with a camera in his hand running away, screaming as he goes past your door as you look out. I think it would give you very good reviews, would it?
Not really. Not really.
Go, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's me with a camera. They're going to think, blimey, look, he's trying to film some sort of sex scene.
And then screamed and ran away. Oh my God, is that the police running up the stairs? Oh my goodness.
Just young and inexperienced.
So okay, Steve, so that was back in the day when you wasn't experienced. What's the biggest thing you've learned then from the paranormal field?
One thing that I've learnt is to actually have that team where you can rely on that confidence within a team to be able to tell them something where you can get an honest and direct view from that particular team, and for you to be able to gel as a team to be able to bring the best result possible for either the event that you're doing or the client that is absolutely terrified.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is actually to be able to bring a team together, but remembering that there's a line that you can't cross, but still having that laugh as well.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy what you do, otherwise it becomes a chore and you just start losing interest in it, I think.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion or your perception of medium psychics? Because I remember you did a show all about the Zener cards and how cold reading and stuff like that. I remember you doing a show on that once upon a time. And
that was a good show.
Yeah, I remember that show. And you both had looked into the cold reading side of things quite extensively, hadn't you, and whatnot. So what's your opinion on that?
As much as I dislike mediums, I do like them because they're another tool that you could use at your disposal, and they're able to talk and give you direct information, whereas something like an EMF meter can't talk to you and give you direct information. You still do it the same way as what you would debunk an EMF meter that you would do with a medium. So you're still confirming, you're still backing up a story. So whether that is you're checking for inconsistencies on an EMF meter or the fluctuations or whatever's happening in a room, you still do that with the medium by checking out the story, checking the back history, researching them, looking at what sort of information they've given you, and seeing what sources they have around them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about for me, for mediums, that it's still going to take a little bit of time to persuade me 100% that some of the mediums are 100% there, because there's a lot of things with regards not just to mediums, but if you think about it, way back in whatever years, however many years, quite a long time ago, people were very, very adept to reading people's body language and to finding out what they liked, what they didn't like, just by the look on their face. Just like a gorilla can tell whether you're being aggressive towards them or whether you're upset.
Mm.
So if you're
I think we all do that to a degree, because you can walk into a room and after someone's had an argument,
mm-hmm.
and you can feel the tension, and that's the same sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with body language, it's very easy to read if you know how to. So what you've got to remember is the human species, because we've got so lapse in ourselves, we only recognise, really, there's a few core emotions that we still know how to read. And that is happiness, anger, sadness, and fear. But there's loads of others that we've forgotten about. Now, I absolutely love my body language, reading up body language and all that sort of stuff. And there's so many different things that you can use if you know how to find out a story, even a backstory, to someone without even asking the relative questions. Which is usually quite easy. And there's one of them, what is it? If you can see, I can't remember the Barnum statement, which is something that we tested out. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember you reading it out,
and the listeners that were involved with that affected at least 90% of them, even though it was one statement.
Yeah.
So
it was all general stuff, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's all general stuff that affects people in their everyday life. Now, there's so many sources out there. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. If you see someone, you pass them in the street, you may not remember who they are. You might not recognize who they are, but the brain is such an amazing tool at our disposal that we haven't unlocked 100%. So if you think about it, if you're seeing something in the street that you can't remember, so let's say if you've looked after people, you're a carer, you've looked after, I don't know, a man named Barry for the last, in a job about 20 years ago. And then suddenly, in the future, you end up meeting this person's, his daughter. And you don't know who this is. You don't recognise who it is, but there's facial features that remind you of that particular person. You're going to sit there and think, well, actually, I don't know who that is, but actually, he reminds me of that man that I used to look after. And automatically, that person's name's come into your head. Can you see where I'm going? It's a massive area. There's so many.
It is massive. Now, the Barnum effect, I'm going to read this because this is what we're talking about right now. It's also called the Forer effect, and it's a common psychological phenomena whereby individuals give high accuracy ratings to descriptions of their personality that supposedly are tailored specifically to them, that are in actual fact vague and general enough to apply to a wide range of people.
Have you got the statement there?
Well, I'm just trying to find the exact statement.
Well, while you're having a look for the statement, shall I tell you a fun fact?
Go on then.
About the Barnum statement. Do you know who the Barnum statement was created by?
Wasn't he a showman? Wasn't Barnum a showman?
Yeah, P.T. Barnum, who the film was based on for The Greatest Showman.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And didn't he say something like, the gullible people?
Yeah, he made his fortune, allegedly, out of, misconceiving the vulnerable people of society and making them believe in things that weren't actually there. So it's quite a good little subject, I think. I do love mediums. I think they're brilliant because they've got so many unanswered questions.
Yeah. It impresses me more when mediums use information that is very hard to find.
Yeah. But
that's when they impress me.
My favourite thing, and I always want to test it, okay, is let's say you have a world-renowned medium who is absolutely 100% fantastic. Fly him over to a foreign country, let's say India, and let's see if that person can pick up an Indian name. Because I guarantee they won't be able to pick it up.
Well, we'll have to try that one day.
Okay, or even if you've got some, or even this is my other question: Okay, mediums or paranormal investigators, everyone, a lot of them pick up full-bodied apparitions, yeah? Some of them only pick up half-body apparitions. Now, this is a question for you. Has anyone ever thought that those half-body apparitions could potentially be dwarfs?
No, I was listening to a show that we did on Irish mythology, and that just brought up the whole mental image in my head of something that happened on that show.
It's true, isn't it? It's true.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Right now, going back to the Barnum list, right? This it was all about basically fraudulent mediums, but getting people to say yes. It was all about getting people to say yes, because the more you say yes to somebody, the more you build a rapport with somebody, so they're more likely to agree with you, right?
Yeah.
No.
Shut up, you, Mr. Rook, in the house. So these are the sort of things that a medium might say that gets you to say yes. This is all to do with the Barnum effect, yeah? So you have a strong need for other people to like you and for them to admire you. Now, you would obviously put this in, oh, you really like people to like you. I can sense that you really like people to admire you. You know what I mean? When you're saying it in those kind of terms rather than just reading a sentence out, you've got to think of it like that. You have a tendency to be critical of yourself. Who doesn't? The hardest critic on yourself is you, surely. You have a great deal of untapped potential. While you do have some personality weaknesses, you are generally able to compensate for them. Disciplined and controlled on the outside, you tend to be worrisome and insecure on the inside. This could describe just about anybody, couldn't it, really? Yeah. You know, at times you have serious doubts as to whether you've made the right decision or done the right thing. You prefer a certain amount of change and variety and become dissatisfied when hemmed in by restrictions and limitations. Are you still with me, boys?
Yeah.
You told me to shut up.
I didn't expect you to take me literally. Come on. Come on, my God. That's the first time ever, everybody. Let's mark that in our diaries. Middle school was an especially awkward time for you. You pride yourself on being an independent thinker and do not accept other people's opinions without proof. You have found it unwise to be too frank in revealing your thoughts and emotions to others. At times you are extroverted, affable, sociable, while at other times you are introverted, wary and reserved. God, that sums up everybody in the world, doesn't it?
that covers everything.
And some of your goals and aspirations tend to be pretty unrealistic. And again, like you say, they're very general, but they're all, you know, those other sort of things, if someone said it to you, you'd be like, yeah. But this is the Barnum effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clever, isn't it?
And when you start looking at it like that, you start breaking it down. But having said that, I think a good medium will come out with, like, how can you explain somebody that comes out with a name and a date, and then you look back in history and you've not done it in your initial research, so you can't say that's a telepathic interaction because you've not come across that fact. But after the fact, the mediums come out with it on the investigation. You go back, you research, and you go, blimey, God, I found that link's in, and that. How can you explain that then?
Dates and names can still be readily available. What impresses me more is, like when we went to the Ramsgate Maritime Museum with you, Kerry, you picked up on that female energy, and you said that she was doing something with her hands, and you was literally mimicking her.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't know what what she was doing. And it wasn't until the curator of the museum actually said that there was a market on that site, and what you were doing was basically opening was it oysters or clams or something?
Yeah, but I'd gone outside, hadn't I? I was going, it's not in here, it's outside. And I actually went outside down the quay, and I was going, it's here. And he was going, okay, that's weird. And, I mean, I didn't come up with names and dates. And to be fair... Right, playing devil's advocate on that, and I will be honest with you, yeah, so I know what I was getting on the night, and that's what I was doing. However, a sceptic would go, you're at a maritime museum, you're on a pier, you've got lots of history regarding not ancient, but, you know, like the old-time boots and stuff. It's not a huge leap of imagination, is it? So a skeptic would argue that. A skeptic would argue that.
You were still on the arm of the marina going around into the sea.
That's
so
right.
The likelihoods of them having a market on that site, sure, it would make more sense to have it more towards the town.
Yeah, because it was where the boats were berthed more than that.
Yeah,
you would think there would be more unloading and stuff at that point, wouldn't you?
Exactly. Yeah, and for that to be picked up, I mean, okay, we would have had to do more digging to find that information. It wasn't something that you could quickly Google and come up with.
No, I didn't.
So that impresses me a little bit more than a medium coming up with dates and names and things, because that.
To be honest, I've only ever been impressed, not actually impressed. I've been proved wrong once with a medium so far. There have been people that have got hit and misses and things like that, and they've managed to get bits and they haven't got bits. But the one that I'll always remember was this. I was doing one of my radio shows way back before meeting you both, actually. And I remember tuning into this radio station, and I thought, you know what, that person's got a medium on there. I'm going to see if I can get him to come onto my show.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know this medium from Adam. Didn't have a clue who he was. Never heard before. He never heard of me before. And what happened was I messaged him. I messaged the host of the show, and he messaged me back saying, I'll pass over your details. He'll ring you in 5 minutes. And I thought, better get myself set up. Got my laptop set up. And my mum sat behind the laptop, and I thought, right, okay, how are we going to do this then? I made sure I was on the backing of a wall where there was no reflections whatsoever. I told my mum to be absolutely dead quiet and not say anything. Now, this medium came on, and he introduced himself and that, and he kind of went through telling me all these bits, and then he turned around and he's gone, do me a favour, Stephen. He said, put your hand out to the side of you. Now, if you put your hand out to the side of you, gravity is going to eventually take over and start pulling your arm down. Now, what he said was, that was my granddad pushing on my hand. Now, I sat there and thought, that's a load of rubbish. It can't be, because it's gravity.
Yeah.
And he started talking to me about some other bits, and it was very, very miss. And he turned around right at the end, just before he went, and he said, what did you think of that, Stephen? And I said, well, it wasn't the best. It's gone all right. And he said, let me tell you something. I went, right, okay. He said, I could tell right from the start you were a complete non-believer. So here we go. Would you like this bit? I went, what do you mean? He's on, here you go. Let me tell you. Your mum is sat behind that laptop, and her dog, that's a border collie, who died of cancer, is sat right next to her. And I went, what? And I thought, nah, how the heck did that happen? And my mum burst out in tears and we're like, whoa, when he went, see you later. He said, send me a friend. And that is the most accurate I've ever found for a medium. I still have him on Facebook to this day.
Did you research it a bit further afterwards? Because I've had somebody else that I know had a reading and was going, no, not accurate at all. But went and spoke to his mum afterwards. They said, coming out with these names and these things that were supposed to have happened, she verified everything. It's just he didn't know at the time.
I didn't know.
That's my problem.
Yeah, I find it very hard. I've done my family tree. Now, the problem with the family tree is it goes on for years and years and years and years and years and millions of thousands of years.
You got any famous in your family tree?
No, they're all molkiners. I mean, what's the word?
Coal miners.
That's it.
Okay, coal miners.
I'm psychic. That's what it is.
I was going to say.
I'm a medium.
Well done, Paul, for getting it from molkiners.
But yeah, they're all, I need to say it again then, coal miners. And couple of them went to prison, but there wasn't really much really special about them. Half of them died at an early age. But yeah, it wasn't really much special about them. So, yeah.
Well, with a name like Collier...
It was Collier, but we're only Collier for 2 generations.
Oh, okay.
And then Collier suddenly disappears because it sounds strange, but Collier was the female's surname. No, it was the male's surname. I think it's something like that. I think it's the females change the name, the males keep the surname. But I think it got to a male. It was something like that anyway. And then it changed all the names. It threw me in a completely different direction. I ain't got a clue what I'm doing after that bit because it's not a name I'm familiar with. So I kind of left it at that. I got back to about 1750 or something like that. That was interesting. But I did find out that through my current living family that my nan was like a clairvoyant, and her 2 sisters went over to America and was extremely highly successful as 2 mediums. They were 2 sisters. And I don't even know what their names were, so I can't even research them.
Oh, it'd be fantastic if they were the Fox sisters, but there was 3 of them, but you know.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you had the Fox sisters in your lineage? That'd be awesome.
It'd be funny, wouldn't it? So to find out whether they were, obviously, because they're over there as American, but whether they emigrated from Britain.
I don't think they did, the Fox sisters. But, you know, I'm just saying, you know, it's just
they were sent over for witchcraft.
Yeah, burnt at the stake. Part of the Salem witches, knowing your luck.
Yeah.
So, having said that, there is a thought that psychic abilities flow through the genes, Paul. Goes down through generations. Have you experienced anything psychic from your own self?
Yes, no. This is the bit that's really hard for me because I'm very sceptical, but I'm having things happening that I can't explain sometimes. And I do experience things, and I just fob them off and throw them all to one side. But after speaking to the 2 lovely mediums that I had that come round to my house, I thought, you know what, I'm going to spend some time with some mediums, and I'm actually going to get to learn what they do properly and actually have a go myself. I'm going to become a little bit more open about it. I'm going to become extremely more open to it. And I actually sat there and thought, well, if my nan can do it, if her sisters can do it, maybe there's something inside of me that can do it, considering that the other day when I sat there brushing my teeth with my wife, when she decided to go in the front room, I thought she was behind me coming into the bedroom again. So that's what I saw in the mirror when I put my head up, was a woman walking into my bedroom. Ooh. And I walked through into the bedroom, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to scare the life out of my wife. So I went into the bedroom and went, boo! Really, really loud, and there was no one in there. So I thought, hang on, hiding behind the door. And then I went, boo again, and found out there was no one in there. When I went into bed, I curled up on the sofa in her blanket.
And then she jumped out of the cupboard and scared you so much you ran away screaming.
And that freaked me out. And the worst thing to me was the fact that the medium last night said you usually get unwelcome visitors sitting on the end of your bed. And I thought, no, don't tell me that. I just saw something. I can't put up with that. I can't even bloody sleep with the light off.
Oh my God. Yeah, the bravery is really showing through tonight, Steve.
I'm very brave.
Well, now what you need to do is set up your cameras there to cover the whole night. See what goes on.
The thing is, okay, when I go on to an investigation, I take it serious. I take it very seriously, but I'm also a great laugh. I love to have a laugh. And Paul, you've been out of me, and I do like. I'm sometimes serious. I remember sitting there watching on the camera on this particular person on an investigation while they were asleep on camera, and watched
I don't know where you're going with this.
Okay, like 5 o'clock in the morning, finding it absolutely hilarious while surviving on biscuits.
Yeah, absolutely. We were the only two awake that night. Everyone else went asleep.
That was so fun, though. I enjoyed it. And there wasn't a single thing in that place that I found, really, apart from that video when we got back.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, we had a few noises when everyone had gone asleep. We heard a few noises in the front room. But it was almost, I don't know, it was the house noises, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything paranormal. It was just the house making these noises.
The most scariest thing was the snoring that come from next door.
Yeah.
You can hear it from next door.
There was a lady, wasn't there, that you had come with you, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought you meant like the people that live next door.
Yeah, and snorer, which was quite funny for myself, and then saying,
and then we see one of the paranormal investigators' socks come off as well. That was like the highlight of the night.
Highlight of the night is when you watch your fellow investigator's sock fall off.
The worst thing that happened to me after that journey was on the way back. Had the car, coming back, but then I had to get the train back through my journey. So it was from Cambridge, that was, and I arrived at Cambridge station after sitting down in the car for God knows how many hours, and found out that my button on my jeans has decided to pop and fall off of those. And I thought, what am I going to do? I've got all this equipment I've got to walk through. I've got no button, no nothing to hold my trousers up. So I went into the local Marks and Spencer's thingy that they had, a little corner garage thingy that they had inside of the bus station, the train station. Asked if I could have a bag off them. And Paul got this bloody plastic bag, shoved it through all my hoops and my trousers, and tied a humongous knot. I had a carrier bag hanging off my trousers, and people wondering what I was doing. I said, "Oh, it's just my sweetie bag." And then I realised after half of my journey coming back, telling people that I had a sweetie bag on.
Oh my god.
That was a good investigation, though.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was
good fun. More of those. Yeah, it was good.
Here next, I was speaking to a certain person the other day, and you need to get up this end.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Mr. Bradfield would join us on it as well.
I'm sure Mr. Bradfield would. Yes, that's something we need to discuss further, isn't it? Is someone trying to winkle pick me out of my home? I loved it. They were like, "You will come out. You will come out." It's been so long since I was out on an investigation. I can't tell you. It's nearly a year since I was out investigating.
Long? That's not that long.
Wow, it's quite a long time for me.
I actually booked a location for April next year. That's my first one.
Mm-hmm.
Of the year so far.
It is?
It's in Chatham, Fort Amherst. But I've not only have I got the caves, but I've also got the gatehouse as well. And when I've got the team going, the public are gonna be doing. They're gonna both do the gatehouse and the caves. But I want to concentrate my investigation on the gatehouse.
I've heard the gatehouse is like the most haunted bit.
It is, because it's not done so much. I think the caves are done to death. I personally don't get much activity in there. You still do get stuff in there, but not for me. It's just not enough. But in the gatehouse, I've had 2 or 3 different experiences. The gatehouse of this Fort Amherst. Because the company that runs it, they hire it in 2 bits. So most investigators book the location and only get the caves. You have to ask for the gatehouse as well, and it's a bit extra. They charge you a bit extra for that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the gatehouse. That's where I'm going to focus my investigation.
Coming up in April. Oh, I never know. I might be out before then.
Yeah.
If it's not too cold, because you know me in the cold.
Yeah.
I'm all right, Woods.
Well, we've got Hockley Woods waiting for you.
I know. Well, it's actually, I don't want to do Hockley. There's another Woods I want to do. And Steph has just said maybe if you weren't so negative thinking, they might be more friendly and come to you, Paul.
That's rubbish. They should just slap me. Let them know that I'm here.
Like I
I'll
said,
give them plenty of opportunity.
These two lads want a full-blown Slimer effect going on. That's what they want.
That's it. I mean, I've done an investigation at True Crimes Museum, and the amount of women in there that they claim they got physically scratched. So during the break, I went in there on my own. I was like, "Come on, in, bring it on. You want someone to scratch? Scratch me. Come on." Here I am. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh dear.
The only thing I think with Spirit as well is you have to give them that respect as well, and that understanding that yes, they have passed, and some of them may be a little bit darker than others. Yeah. But it's about that mutual respect, isn't it?
It is.
I think there's a lot of people out there that do forget.
You do. I mean, there are some locations, and one of them that I used to do was a military museum, and you had to go into a certain area and ask basically the spirit of the captain to give permission for the other spirits to communicate with you. If you didn't do that at the beginning of the investigation, you get nothing.
Ooh. Well,
so
Mark is in the chat room, and he said he visited Fort Amherst during the daytime over the summer holidays, and the gatehouse was the area that they would focus on if they ever went back, and he can advise on a spot of interest privately. So maybe it would be worth having a chat to the lovely Mark. Yeah,
definitely. There is one particular place in the gatehouse that I had two different experiences in. And again, that is something that I want to focus on. But sadly, the Fort Amherst people won't hire just the gatehouse. You have to have covers as well.
Well, that's all right.
So,
let other people do that.
Make a bit of an event out of it. The public can have the caves while I'm wandering around the gatehouse. That's fine. I can cope with that.
Well, my lovely lads, it is 3 minutes to go before the end of the show. Have you enjoyed your reunion?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's been great. We'll carry on after the show.
I'm sure we will. Don't forget, guys, I'm taking over your show now, Paul. Sorry.
You are. Go for it.
Don't forget, if you missed any of our shows, you can catch up with them on YouTube. Don't forget to click like, share and subscribe. And if you want to listen to some archive shows, pop over to Podbean. They are all archive shows over there. Some really great topics and some really great guests we've had on in the past is on over there. We have a competition on the Parasearch Radio group page. It's for a pagan rosary that I made with my own very fair hands, which I do for my business, Spirit and Soul Island, just saying. And if you'd like to enter, then you need to go over to the Parasearch Radio group page, be a liker of the page, and then just pop your name, and that gets pulled on the 15th of October. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Steve Collier.
That's all right.
Back to you, Paul. Back to you, Paul.
Okay. Right, well, that's it. Thanks, everyone in the chat room. You've been brilliant as ever. So thank you for that, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.